One day, 3 young men presented themselves at the gates of the monastery. The head monk greeted them and asked, "Why do you want to enter the monastery?" "Because, master, we wish to learn to play the Blippoo Box." "Is your desire to learn to play the box fervent and unshakable?" "Oh yes, master, we swear it is." The head monk pointed at the bunkhouse and said, "You will find all you need over there. We will talk in a month's time." And sure enough, the young men found board and lodging, and each one was given a Blippoo box and a pair of headphones, so that after they had finished working in the fields, they could play the box and learn its secrets. After a month had passed, the head monk called to them and said, "Monks, tell me what you've learned of the box." "Master, I have a question about the runglers. I believe that the runglers are random generator circuits of a sort which drive the oscillators. But does the rungler CV sum with the FM and the sample and hold linearly, or is there more involved?" The master picked up a pail of slops and threw it at the young man, shouting, "Get yourself a job in a bank, you imbecile! The rungler that can be told is not the true rungler." Much abashed, the young man turned and left the monastery and was not seen again. The master turned his attention to the second monk. "Master," he said, "this Blippoo rocks. I can't get enough of it. I want to play it all day. It's so unpredictable and magical. It's like nothing I've ever used." "Do you think I've nothing better to do than listen to you babbling on? Go pick some cabbages for dinner, you lazy bastard." The young monk left for the cabbage patch, his head low. "And you," the master said to the last monk, "what have you to say for yourself?" "Master," said the monk, "you wouldn't happen to have a tape delay lying around anywhere, would you?" master picked up the third pail of slops and emptied it over his own head. Then, wiping his face clean, he said, "I think I have one somewhere. Now go and pick some cabbages. It's getting late." The easiest way to tell if an instrument has become legendary is when legends are made up around it, such as this wonderful story I first encountered 8 years ago on the Modewiggler forums, which was written by Uncle Meatball. And it is, of course, about the Blippoo Box. It is a design by the late and great Rob Hordijk, and the version I'm playing here is from 2018. The design of the Blippoo Box is an attempt to bridge a crossover space between abstract art, music, and artistic craftsmanship. Rob came not from music, he came from sculpture and jewelry, and he developed an interest in electronic music circuits during the 70s and 80s. And the Blippoo Box is one of a kind. It is one of those instruments that really feel and sound alive. At its core is based on chaos, and you have two Wrangler circuits in here that drive that chaos. I've talked a bit about chaos and the Wranglers in my video on the Peterlin by Seat Lombard, which is inspired by the Banjolin that Rob Hordijk made, and that also includes the Wrangler circuit. Where the Banjolin has one Wrangler, the Blippoo Box has two, and these can modulate the oscillators, of which there are again two, or the Twin Peaks filter. The Twin Peaks filter is basically a bandpass, and you can modulate its spread with a sample and hold. The sample and hold can also modulate either oscillator. The sample and hold can either be fed from a mix of the Wranglers or from oscillator B triangle output, which results in tones that are more choppy or more legato. There's a crossfade here between the internal oscillators and external input, and this instrument really shines with external input. The chicken knobs make this instrument wonderful to play because you can just flick them around really quickly, yet dial in precise values if you want to. There are even some versions with motion sensors. This one doesn't have that. Thanks to input for resonance CV and pitch, as well as outputs from the Wrangler, from the sample and hold, and individual outputs for the oscillators, this interfaces well with modular synthesizers, such as the Surge, because this is a banana version. What I find interesting is how clean and deep yet alive this instrument sounds. And that's also a little bit odd, considering that Rob Hordijk referenced the Forbidden Planets soundtrack when he was designing this instrument. The sonic reference was especially appealing as this soundtrack was made before the invention of the synthesizer as a musical instrument in the early 60s, enabling me to argue that the sonic character of the Chaos Box is not the sound of a synthesizer, but truly has a generalized electronic sound character. Yeah, this doesn't really sound like a Roland or Yamaha or a Korg or a Moog for that matter. It sounds very much like liquid electricity. The problem that Rob Hordijk encountered when making this instrument in the spirit of this fantastic soundtrack was that modern parts sound rather clean and precise. They're very high quality. So he had to find a way to engineer in this organic and harmonically enhanced sound. Originally, the Blippoo Box sold for about 650 euros, but it quickly became much more expensive because Rob made these only in small batches, basically whenever he was taking a break from making his big modular systems. So there's not many of these around, probably in the very low hundreds. Even 10 years ago, the price for these went up to 1,500, and the last listings I found were for $3,000 and $4,200, which is an insane price. I personally have been looking for one for a decade and I never thought I would have one, but a lucky trade came up and I exchanged this for a beautiful Seat Lombard Shrine. Which hurt a little, but at least I just made an EP with the Shrine you can listen to here. So I did enough with the Shrine to be able to say goodbye to it and get the Blippoo Box in my home. And I'm so happy I did, because this instrument is a part of musical synthesizer history. There are digital versions of the Blippoo Box, both on VCV rack and as a firmware for the Menke Wingy 2. For similar, yet quite a bit different tones, you could look into the Benjamin family, of which there are a bunch, or try the Bustle Soft Pop, which is inspired by Rob Hordijk's circuits too. And if you're on my Patreon, there's a massive sound pack of loops from this video awaiting you there. If you have any more questions or stories about the Blippoo Box, please share them in the comments below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye.